same basic mind form that says that our collective well-being comes through a conquest of nature, which is an other, which doesn't care about us, which doesn't have innate intelligence, order, organization, evolution, purpose, or a tendency innately toward wholeness, toward complexity. It's just a bunch of stuff out there. Intelligence is ours. And to make the world better, we have to impose our intelligence upon the world. And guess what? We've been doing better and better at that thanks to the progress in technology and science. And someday we're going to engineer the entire planet and the entire universe and bring order to chaos. Harness the forces of nature. Become more precise and more powerful in how we deploy the force that has become ours. Turn the whole world into products, into resources. That's the mindset that was supposed to make us better and better off. It was supposed to improve our well-being. But as we heard this morning already, depression rates 20-25%, addiction, poverty, suicide, and a built environment that is not becoming more and more beautiful. It's still a little bit better here than back where I live, but I marvel when I drive through the suburban landscapes of America at how ugly the buildings are. The strip malls, the gas stations, the Walmarts, the franchise restaurants, the McDonald's, the houses that are all built by the same formula. And I'm like, after 5,000 years of architecture, haven't we learned anything? Like, we're supposed to be richer and richer and richer, yet these buildings are built for efficiency, i.e. cheapness. If we're actually rich, we would be oriented toward other values, wouldn't we? So this is part of the transition in business. When I'm talking about an orientation toward other values, I'm talking about things that may not be able to be quantified. And that goes against a foundational principle of business logic that I've heard inspirational speakers talk about. If you want to create something, first measure it, first quantify it. That assumes that everything can be measured and quantified. Part of the story of separation says that. This was enunciated by Galileo. It's a foundational piece of the scientific method, that if something is real, it can be measured, and that progress of our knowledge means that we bring more and more into the realm of measurement. Well, it's not working very well right now, is it? So maybe that's because we haven't measured enough. Maybe we have to run faster in that maze. Maybe we need to bring metrics to ecosystem services and incorporate those into the financial system and into business incentives. And I'm not actually saying that that has no place, but we will hit a glass ceiling doing that. What we are facing is a qualitative transition. Not to become a little bit better at what we're already doing, but we are facing an initiation into a new story. A new and actually very ancient story that says who you are is the totality of your relationships. Who you are is a holographic mirror of all that is. That there is a mysterious and intimate connection between the inner and the outer, between the self and the other, between the human and the natural world, between me and you. Sometimes you get the feeling, and maybe you're about to get it in a few seconds, that the person sitting next to you is the same being that you are, looking at the world through different eyes. Sometimes you look at somebody and there's that split second of recognition. And you can feel next to you self, having a fully subjective experience. Knowing that, more for you is less for me is ridiculous. What we do to the other, we do to ourselves. We, as a collective, have been receiving one initiation after another into that reality. A key initiation came with the atomic bomb and the age of mutually assured destruction. The possibility of nuclear holocaust, which invalidated one of the key solution templates, which was utterly annihilate the enemy and you will win and the world will be better. Things will be fine. Problem solved by the total annihilation of the enemy. And with the advent of nuclear weapons, we had, for the first time, weapons too terrible to use. And all-out war, total war, became no longer an option. Because if we destroy the enemy, we will be destroyed too, even if they don't fight back. Nuclear fallout would do the job. And now we're getting another initiatory experience with what we call climate change, which says basically what we're doing to nature, we cannot escape. Now, I'm actually quite critical of the dominant narrative of climate change for a lot of reasons that I won't get into right now, because I have 11 minutes left. But I will say that I'll just put one point in there, that the issue may not be whether we survive or not. It may not be, is there going to be human extinction? And the operating principle perhaps should not be sustainability, sustaining what we have right now. What about transformation instead of sustainability? What about asking not how can we sustain the world, but rather what world do we want to live in? Not how do we survive, but how shall we live? What do we want to live in? So,